So while we're about to start, oh, hey, Kat, you came. Good to see you. Hi there. I thought about canceling today, given that our capital is in ruins right now. And this is astounding. But to tell you the truth, when I entered the field of education back in 1991, I decided to join the field of education and not politics, because instead of fighting against what was bad in the world, I wanted to grow and build what was good. So I decided to go on and let's do this today. I truly believe that educators, and especially educational leaders, habits are so vital. We're going to talk about how much you can do by just making really small changes. So we are here. Let's put the capital out of our minds and hopefully do some really good work. I promise everybody is going to get something really good out of today. As people are getting on the line, I'm just asking people to share their name, geographic location, and a habit they admire. And then if you could take a minute to read a few habits from other people, because I am going to have you choose one habit today for 2021. You don't have to be locked in to work on a little bit. So if you see somebody else's habit that gives you an idea of what you admire, then that's fantastic. If you happen to say, if your name says Jenn David-Lang and you're not me, if you could hover over your name, I made a mistake, click on the three dots and tell me your real name. I love to see names of people I've known for years and people I'm just meeting. But yes, and if you can turn your cameras on, that would be great. Well, let's get started, okay? I am, in case you don't know, I am Jenn David-Lang, and I run, let me just get into my PowerPoint. This is what we are doing today. How to build better habits for 2021. 9 great strategies to help make habits stick. And this is all based on a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's a fantastic book. I will have a summary for you after this. So again, I am Jenn David-Lang, and I run the Main Idea. I've been in education for a long time. I started in 1991 as a middle school English and math teacher, kind of weird. And now my favorite thing to do is to support principals in their work. And I do that mostly through the Main Idea, where each month I send a summary of a great current education book, and I give people ideas for how to run workshops based on the ideas in the book, so you can introduce them to your staff. And I also run online mastermind groups twice a month to help support school principals and to have them support each other. So I am not an expert on habits. In fact, I think I am so taken with this book and with this workshop because actually I've tried a lot of habits and I've failed. Anybody else in that category, raise your hand if you are here today, because perhaps you've tried and failed. Yes, we all have. So I am not an expert. I just started some new habits this year myself. I have 4 new habits for this year, which is far too many. I should have started with 1 or 2, but I'm doing well if you see me checking them off. And I'm going to share with you what we are going to do today. Oh, this is my paper tracker. A lot of you probably prefer apps, and you can Google habit apps. There are a ton of them. There's Productive and Habit Bull and Streak. So there's a million of them. I've tried both apps and paper, but I really do like paper. So we are going to get started with what we're doing today, okay? So like I said, this is all based on this fantastic book, Atomic Habits, and I have a 6-page summary that I will send you after if you haven't read it. It's a fantastic book, fantastic stories. You can read it over the next break if you ever get one. It's like you can sit on a beach and read this book. It goes down very easily. So what we are going to do today is, first, I am going to give you an overview of the book, and I will talk at you, blah, 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 just for the beginning. And I'm going to share with you the 4 laws of human behavior change. I will explain what that means later. So first is the book overview. Second, 9 really concrete strategies that make these habits stick. So all the reasons we've all struggled with habits before, now with these strategies, they'll really help us make the habits stick. Then I really believe the best professional learning, you don't just sit there while I blah, blah, blah at you, but we actually apply the knowledge. So we together as a large group, we are going to choose a habit and we are going to brainstorm strategies we could use to make that habit really work for us. And then finally, I am going to have you choose a habit for 2021. You can change it later. Nobody's binding you to it. And you are going to map out your own strategies for making that habit work for you in 2021. So this is an overview for anyone who has just joined us of what we're doing today. It's great to meet you all. I'm Jenn David-Lang, and I am excited to get into the book. Sorry about that. So let me just give you a little bit of an overview first of the book. I think that this is a powerful book because James Clear is talking about some really small habit changes that can truly change your life. And to be honest with you, every amazing leader, school leader, district leader that I've ever met has really strong habits. Think about it. In order to build a functioning school, that's not going to happen as a result of one great conversation you had with a parent or one fantastic PD session that you happen to plan. No. Really fantastic schools are the results of repeated habits that you as the leader have. So, for example, you regularly communicate with families, right? You regularly observe teachers and give feedback. You regularly walk the halls when we used to have halls and kept your finger on the pulse of the school culture. You regularly plan PD and help support teachers, right? So it's really through habits that we build strong schools, not from one-off types of experiences. So I'm going to introduce all of this to you. And then at the end, I have a 21-day Better Habits Challenge, which is basically, instead of just a one-shot sit and get PD today, I will send you an email once a week for 3 weeks. You can opt out if you want, to try to keep up your habit for 3 weeks after this. So James Clear has an incredible life story. On the very last day of 10th grade, he was a big baseball player. His dad played in the minor leagues. Someone accidentally hit him in the head with a baseball bat, and it's terrible. He had skull fractures, a concussion to his brain, it shattered both of his eye sockets. Awful, terrible life story. It was 8 months before he could even drive again. And then miraculously, he got into college, Denison University, and he started to learn the power of really small. Other friends of his were out working. He started to sleep a little bit more each night, and he started to work on his study habits just a little bit more. And he tried out for the baseball team, and he started doing a little bit more weightlifting. And he started making these very tiny incremental changes. And then 6 years after his accident, from 10th grade to senior in high school, he was named as the top male athlete in the entire university. And he was awarded the university's highest academic honor, the President's Medal. So it was really through these tiny, tiny changes that he had a huge impact and was really able to change his life. And that's the motto of the book: tiny changes, remarkable results. So many of us fail to make those changes because we don't yet see the results, right? He made all those tiny changes, but it took him 6 years to see results. So many of us who raised our hands, we gave up. And he gives a couple of analogies to help understand what this is like. So imagine that you have an ice cube on the table and your room is 27 degrees out, right? So you put all your effort in to raise the temperature of the room 1 degree and it's 28 degrees, and what happens? Nothing. Then you try really hard and you raise the temperature another degree. What happens? It's 28, 29 degrees, nothing. Then you work really hard, 29, nothing. I think we all know where this is going, right? So most of us quit. At 30 degrees, we quit. Forget it. The ice is always going to be there. But for those of us who persevere, 31 degrees, nothing happens. 32, nothing. Finally, 33 degrees, and the ice starts to melt. And that sort of illustrates the power of these really small changes that eventually lead to a large change. Another analogy he gives is, imagine an airplane in Los Angeles. Sorry, it's a little blurry here. I should have made it smaller. So you're in Los Angeles and the plane is supposed to go to New York City. And someone moves the nose of the plane just a tiny bit, 3.5 degrees. That's nothing out of 360 degrees, tiny bit. And instead of the plane landing in New York City, because of that tiny change, it lands over 200 miles away in Washington, D.C., where we have our capital right now, burning down, because of that tiny change. So the idea is, think about your trajectory right now, your personal and your professional trajectory. If you could just make a tiny 3.5-degree change now, where might you be 1 year down the line, 2 years, 5 years? So that's sort of the basic concept. So what happened is, with James Clear's personal life and with doing some research and a lot of reading, he realized that to make true habit change, there are 4 laws of human behavior, and that's what he captured in his book. And his book is not a heavy research piece at all. It's light, it's got lots of stories, but he does read deeply, and his ideas are based in biology, neuroscience, philosophy, psychology, and more. So, so we are going to go through these 4 laws of human behavior change, and we are going to apply them to a habit that we all pick. So right now, we are all going to choose whether we want to apply these 4 laws together as a group to one of these 2 strategies. So I'm giving you a Zoom poll now, and I'm giving you a choice. Would you like us as a group to work on a habit to regularly practice gratitude, or a professional habit to observe 10 teachers a week? And I honestly believe both of these things will help you as an educator, as a leader, but I want to see what people want to work on. So right now, the vote, I'm going to share the results with you in just a second. If everybody could put their votes in. Do you want to work on, as a group, practicing gratitude or observing 10 teachers a week? Both noble goals for a school leader. So welcome everybody, people who came late. We are working on habits. Even though as the world crashes and burns around us, we are going to be better leaders and run better schools. All right, I think, oh, a few more people trickling. You want to make your vote, do it now. I think 1 is pretty far ahead, unlike what's going on in Georgia. I'm going to end the poll, last chance, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the results. Overwhelmingly, people want to work on gratitude. And again, if you work on any personal habit, sleeping better, eating better, mindfulness, any of those things is going to help you as a leader, because you'll be more present, you'll make better changes, you will improve relationships. So I think any of those habits, I really shouldn't have divided them as personal and professional. So, so I'm going to introduce one of the laws at a time. And right now, in case you don't have that 1-pager that I sent you, I'm going to ask Alegria to attach it to the chat. You don't have to take copious notes. I created a worksheet that's also an information sheet on 1 page that has these 4 laws. So we are going to talk about the 4 laws in just a second. Are you able to attach that, or you want me to attach it?
I might be having a little trouble.
Sure, no worries about it. Give us a second and I will attach it in case anybody doesn't have it. There we go, I just attached it. So if anybody didn't get that email from me, this is the 1-pager. If you want to follow along, you don't need to take copious notes. If you're like me, you may like to take copious notes, that's perfectly fine. All right, so let's dive into the first law of human behavior change. All right. So if you want to make a habit stick, first you have to know to start it. So you have to make the habit obvious, right? We have to know when to begin the habit. So he has a couple of concrete strategies. So the larger law is to make it obvious. And then I'm going to share 2 more concrete strategies. And then we're going to apply those strategies to the gratitude habit. So the first one, and I love this one, is the habit stacker. So you take a habit that you already do and you put the new habit that you want to do on top of it. So let's say, for example, I happen to have the habit of brushing my teeth every morning. I'm really good at brushing my teeth every morning. I don't need any prompting, right? So I brush my teeth, but I want the habit of meditating. So what I do is I say every day after I brush my teeth, I'm going to meditate for a minute right there in the bathroom, eyes closed. And that's how I'm going to make sure that I do it every day, from habit stacking. It's, if you're all familiar with SMART goals, in some ways what it is it's just making it more concrete. It's an exact time, it's an exact place. When your intention is more concrete, you're more likely to do it. The second goal is to set up your environment to remind you to start the goal. So before this session, Maria told me she wanted to drink more water. That's a great goal, Maria. I once passed out because I didn't have enough water to drink. Good for you. So what can you do to make it obvious to start that? Take your office or your home and put bottles or glasses of water all over the place, right? So when you're, hanging out, writing a little bit, oh, there's a glass of water. I got to start my habit. You go to the bathroom, you need a break. Oh, there's a glass of water. I better drink some water. So the two strategies I'm sharing is either the habit stacker or prime your environment to remind you to start the habit, okay? So what I'm gonna ask you to do now is to, for everybody in the chat, think about this habit of gratitude that we all said we wanna work on. How could you use the habit stacker or the environment to get you to start a practice of gratitude? So I will share an idea. So here, how might we use the environment or habit stacker to get us to start our gratitude habit? So I'm writing, after I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for. That's great. After I walk into my office, I'll send one positive note to a staff member each day. Perfect. You're always going to walk into your office. That's great. When I get into bed, I'll write down 3 things I'm grateful for in a journal. Yes, that's a great one. Read the ideas that other people have, because these are fantastic. After I fill my water bottle every day, I'll say one thing I'm grateful for. Fantastic. After reading the news on the couch every morning, that's a habit that Kat already has. She's going to set a timer to pick up her journal and start writing. Exactly. That's the concept of that. So we have some environments and some after. So we're focusing specifically on the habit stacker and the environment. One thing I did is before, when I went to bed every night, when I got into bed, I would think of what I was grateful for from the day, and I'd actually help my sleep get a little bit better. That's a bit of a Keystone habit. We'll talk. After I wake in the morning, I'll be mindful about thanking God for one thing or person I'm grateful for. Great. You know you're going to wake up every morning. So how wonderful is that to have a gratitude practice instead of grabbing your phone right away, right? How many of us grab our phones? Very embarrassed to say that I do. Great. After I finish my morning yoga, wow, so somebody already has a yoga practice, is doing a great job. Fantastic, Rachel. Then you're going to reflect on one thing you're grateful for. Fantastic. Okay. Anybody else, other ideas? After I look at my emails, I'll send a positive affirmation to one of my staff members. Yes. Great. And if anybody wants to change their name from Jenn David-Lang, so I don't think it's me, you can hover over your name and click on the 3 dots. Great. So that's the very first law of human behavior change that we have now applied to gratitude. Let's move on to the second law. The second law is to make it attractive. Think about it. You're more likely to do a habit if it is attractive to you. That is, if you have a craving for it. So you think about the habits that we have, right? Eating ice cream sundaes and binging Netflix. Why do we do all those things? But we have a craving for them. So how can we make ourselves have a craving for a tougher habit than binging Netflix, right? So these are 2 concrete strategies to make your habit more attractive. So the first one is called temptation building, and it's a lot like the habit stacker. And the idea is that after you do a task that you must do, then you get to do a task that you want to do, right? So after I write the agenda for this meeting, then I'll check Facebook. After I run a mile, then I'll take a luxurious bath, right? And what happens is your body starts to crave the reward so that it gets you to do the more difficult tasks. So after I write 3 teacher evaluations, then I will enjoy some coffee. And this has already happened with me. One of my tasks involves some caffeine, so I'm starting to crave it and I'm getting one of my daily habits in. So that's the first strategy under Make It Attractive. The second strategy is to join a culture where that habit is the norm. Peer pressure works for us as adults too, and it's also just, it's more attractive, it's more fun to do a habit with others, right? So if you want to practice meditation, then join a meditation group where it's completely the norm. If you want to do more professional reading, then join the Main Idea where you get a summary every month, or join my mastermind where we discuss professional reading. No, join a book club, right? I'm part of a fiction book club. I wasn't reading fiction before, and now I'm part of a group of all these fantastic women, and so I read my fiction. So here are 2 strategies to make it attractive: temptation building and join a culture. So if we could try the same thing again, let's take that and apply it to gratitude. So how could you specifically use temptation building and join a culture to get you to be more grateful? So for example, obviously some kind of religious or spiritual group, right? Maybe you could join a spiritual group where it is the norm, right? If you go to church on Sundays and that's a time when you're regularly grateful. So how could you use temptation building? Right, reward yourself. So after I send 3 teachers notes that say how much I appreciate them, then I'm going to drink my morning coffee. Join a group to share the grateful journal. That's great. That's almost like an accountability partner too, right? Join a pickleball club. Shane, I love pickleball. I've got to tell you about that. My husband just took my daughter driving and they found some pickleball in the middle of Long Island. Exactly. Give yourself a free minutes, thank you, Kathy, of free time after you express gratefulness. So if that's a reward, you're a busy leader, free time is great. Michelle says, after I write my journal, I'll have my coffee. Yeah, coffee, caffeine works for a lot of us educators. Somebody just shared a teacher group where teachers try and post 3 things they're grateful for each day, right? So the reward there is after you post it, you have the satisfaction of posting it, people comment on it, right? That's why Twitter and Facebook, all those things work, is you get the satisfaction, you get the satisfying. Yes, exactly, right? Post your gratitudes on Facebook and then take a few minutes to scroll, right? See what people say. So these are 2 very powerful strategies to make this general law of human behavior change more concrete. Anybody else want to add anything else? I am a big believer in applying what you are learning. Let's see. After I write 3 things I'm grateful for, I get to read my book and go to sleep. That sounds like a whole evening routine, which is just fantastic. After you answer emails, you have some tea. Yes, got to reward yourself. After I'm done walking, I'll read a book. Fantastic. Oh, Lori, good to see you. After my work day, I will sign up for a workout class. That is great. So these are all fantastic suggestions. So let's move on to the third law of behavior change. So we've done make it obvious, how to start, and then how to make it attractive. So we actually want to do it. And again, this is all on the 1-pager. You don't have to take crazy notes, okay? The third law is how, whoops, I skipped ahead my finger. Sorry about that. Okay, how to make it easy, make the habit easier. So sometimes when I'm bad with my habits, I think to myself, Jen, come on, just try harder. Come on, this time around, you're going to do it, right? How many of you think like, buck up, double down? No, this year, 2021, I'm going to do it. But really, James Clear says that humans are not wired to work harder. We're actually wired to work easier. Evolutionarily, we are lazier. Why? Well, think about it. Imagine our ancestors, right? Many years ago, they didn't want to exert a lot of effort to get their food. They wanted to exert the least amount of effort. Otherwise, they would have more caloric needs and have to search even harder for food. They wanted to exert the least amount of effort to find shelter, the least amount of effort to kill a predator, right? So we have it all wrong. We're not supposed to double down and work harder to get our habits done. We have to make the habits themselves easier. So here are two strategies for doing that. The first, again, is to prime the environment. Before, the environment was to remind us, I got to start my habit. This one is to make the habit easier. So think about it. If you're trying to eat healthily, isn't it easy to grab a bag of store-bought cookies and start eating? Yes, that is much easier than getting some carrots, washing them, peeling them, cutting them up, finding that cutting board, right? So what you can do to prime your environment is on Sunday, cut up a whole bunch of vegetables and put them in jars or Tupperware or whatever. And then when you're hungry, it's easier. They're there. My favorite example from the book, and there are all these great stories in the book about priming the environment, is about the French author, Victor Hugo. He wrote Hunchback of Notre Dame and Les Miserables. Sorry for my accent, I speak Spanish, not French. But anyway, he was having so much trouble finishing his novel, I think it was The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the publisher was giving him a really hard time. And so he went to the room where he works and he asked his assistant to take all of his clothing, because what was making him slow about finishing the novel was he kept going out into the cafes around Paris and he was chatting with everyone. So he had his assistant take his clothes. So he had to stay in that room. And in fact, I don't know if this is fully true, he finished The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 weeks early for the publisher. So there's one suggestion for you for making it easier. A less sexy example is my husband, who he takes his clothing to run in the morning and he puts it outside of our room to make it easy. So he can't wake up and think, oh, I don't want to disturb Jen, or oh, I got to find my socks. It's all there. He primed the environment and he made it easier for him to run each morning. So you want to think of what are ways to make it easier when you have to write those teacher evaluations. Maybe you want to put your phone in another room if it's distracting. Maybe if everybody is interrupting you in your office, you want to go to a cafe. So you want to be able to make it easier. So you can prime the environment. Another thing you can do is the 2-minute rule. Most of us, especially me, are guilty of having big dreams, right? We all have big dreams. We want to transform our whole school, right? We want all of our teachers to become experts in literacy, our students to skip 3 grades. We want to write novels. We want to run a marathon. No, 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 no. You got to start much smaller to make it easier. If you want to start a running habit, then for the next few days, all you do is set your alarm, get out of bed, put your sneakers on, and then get right back into bed. That's it. We've got to start small. We're starting too big. So you want to start a habit of making phone calls home during this pandemic to students' families? Great. You have a huge student body? Doesn't matter. Make one phone call this week to one family's home. Then next week, increase it. So the two concrete strategies to make it easier is to prime the environment and the 2-minute rule. So let's do the same thing with gratitude here. So if we want the habit of gratitude, how can we make it easier, or how can we prime the environment to be regularly grateful? And I'm looking for everybody to share, to apply what you have learned. Welcome to people who have come later. Great. So let's see. Oh, Megan McKay, hi. Bring 2 pairs of socks to my running. Oh, okay, that's fine. We are doing gratitude, but that's fine. Yes, bring 2 pairs of socks in your running shoes. Great, good idea. Use Duolingo just for 10 minutes. Fantastic. We are collectively doing gratitude, just totally fine. I love this, Patty. Good to see you. How are you doing, Patty Ward McGuire? Have a basket with cards and a list of teachers already on your desk, right? If you already have the cards and the names, then you can easily grab one and send a note to a teacher a day. That's a great way to make it easier. And just start with 1 a day. Fantastic. Get your spouse involved and have a grateful discussion before going to sleep each night. Fantastic. Good, someone else loves the basket with cards. How can we make gratitude easier or smaller, right? Just start small. Yes, keep the gratitude journal in a place right near your bed. Put it on your pillow, right? That's a great example of priming the environment. I'm someone who leaves things all over to remind me to do things. I know my husband hates that, but yes. Gratitude printed labels or mailing, yes, have already made out envelopes or cards. Fantastic. All right, these are some fantastic ideas for ways that we can make it easier to express gratitude. Oh, start or end a meeting. I love that, Jessica Poyer. By having everyone send a gratitude text. It makes it easier if it's already scheduled in your meeting, right? End your meeting 5 minutes early and people can share a gratitude text. That's fantastic. All right, finally, we're going to do the last law, and then I will give you a chance to work on your own habits. So the last law, the fourth law, is we got to make the habits satisfying. As humans, we are primed for instant gratification, right? You know the long-term effects of writing all those thank you cards. You know the long-term effects of observing all those teachers or eating well, right? But we want gratitude now. Just like I was saying about making it easier, we are primed for instant gratification. Think about it. Think about our ancestors. They didn't have an elaborate plan to escape a tiger. They needed to escape now. They needed to find shelter now. They didn't save up to have a down payment for a house. No, they needed the shelter now. They needed the food now. So it's only more recently that humans have wanted to delay gratification. So it's kind of a strange thing. But what do we do if we want to drop those pounds and you know it's going to take a long time? So one strategy he has is you've got to create an immediate reward, even if it's not a natural one. So every day that you eat healthily, put $1 into a jar to save money for a leather jacket. We like to have immediate reward. So it's similar to the temptation building. So you have to create a fake immediate reward that may not necessarily be connected with the habit that you are doing. The second strategy, so one strategy is an immediate reward. The second one is a habit tracker. So this is a sample habit tracker I created. I'm going to send it to everybody after this meeting. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of us educators like to check things off. So you do your yoga practice for the day and then you check it off. There's something about it that feels satisfying, or you use your app and you click it on the app there. A habit tracker, it's just literally, it could be a piece of paper, it could be a calendar, an app, anything to check it off. So I will send this to you later. Jerry Seinfeld, the famous comedian, he had the goal of having a habit of writing one joke a day. And he actually created a habit tracker for himself. And he was particularly conscientious about not breaking the chain. And that's why the program Snapchat works, is we don't want to break chains. You see all those check marks and you don't want to leave a space there. So there's an immediate reward, there's a habit tracker, and this time I'm also going to share a third strategy, which is the negative consequence. So one way to make something satisfying is also to avoid something dissatisfying. So for example, why do we pay our bills on time? Well, we don't want to pay a late fee. Why do we drive under the speed limit? Or some of us, or most of us, why? We don't want to get caught and get a ticket. So that's the idea with the negative consequence. So my favorite example from the book that James Clear wrote is there's this guy who wants to wake up early every morning. He wants to get up at 6 a.m. So he has his Twitter account. He has a timer set for 6:10 a.m. every morning. And if he does not get up and stop the timer, a tweet goes out that says, "I'm not up because I'm lazy. The first 5 people to respond to this tweet get $5. So if he gets up in time, he can stop the tweet. So I love that one. In my own house, we are all big Mets fans here in New York City. So one way to set up an accountability partner and a negative consequence, I could say with my husband, let's say I have the goal of turning off all screens by 9 p.m. That's it. No work, nothing after 9. The first day that I'm checking emails after 9 p.m., then I have to wear a Yankees cap for all of my Zoom meetings for an entire week or a month. So imagine that type of a negative consequence. And it also involves an accountability partner. So this is our last one to do with gratitude. So for our shared goal of gratitude, the last question is, how could you use a negative consequence, a habit tracker, or setting up an immediate reward to get you to show gratitude? People are getting tired. So ideas. If I don't show gratitude, I have to do 100 sit-ups. Wow, that's good. I wish I could do 100 sit-ups. Habit tracker to follow who you have written notes to. Oh, that's a great idea, right? Keep a list of all your staff or personal friends. Use a phone app to check off. Yes, I love phone apps. A recurring reminder on the phone. Yes, a little alarm that goes off 9 o'clock each night. My daughter and I actually, we signed up for a gratitude app, and we get a text each night at 9 p.m. It says, what 3 things are you grateful for the day? It's really cute. If you don't exercise during the day, no glass of wine at night. That is a great negative consequence. So by making it unsatisfying not to do the habit. Fantastic. What does Lori say? If I don't show gratitude, I have to cook dinner every night for a week. Ooh, big consequence there. If I forget to write my 3 things, I can't snack during the entire next day. That's a big one, Jennifer Ernest. Woo. So these are all, so what I tried to do is take this strategy and go through the 4 habits, the 4 laws of behavior change, and show you some very concrete strategies. But I want to say a special note about Keystone habits. Has anybody ever heard that term, a Keystone habit? It comes from Charles Duhigg, who wrote The Power of Habit. I have a summary of that book too. If you're just enamored of habits, email me, I'll send you that one. But basically, those are the habits that are so powerful that they have a ripple effect on other habits in our lives. I guess in schools, we often think of them as like high leverage changes, the changes that impact everything else. So a perfect example of this is from the movie Brittany Runs a Marathon. Anybody see the movie Brittany Runs a Marathon? Yes. So it's a story of a young woman who she's overweight, she abuses Adderall, she oversleeps, she parties late with her friends don't even treat her well, she doesn't have good friends, and then she sees a doctor who says she's really unhealthy, needs to lose weight, and she decides to start running. And if we have time, I thought I would just show you a quick clip to give you an idea of a Keystone habit. Give me 1 second. Just a minute.
What brings you in today?
I have a hard time focusing.
You get enough sleep every night?
How much is enough?
6 to 8 hours.
Oh, way more than that. I had a friend, she was prescribed Adderall, and now she's very alert.
You know, some people abuse Adderall. Let's get you healthy. I want you to try losing 55 pounds.
That's the weight of a Siberian Husky. You want me to pull a medium-sized working dog off of my body? I'm starting to feel like everyone's lives are going places, and mine's sort of stuck. Hold it, please. Try not to leave all your stuff in the hallway. The third time this month. Change is possible. I keep interviewing Fit. I would love you to walk me through CPR for this doll. I'm sorry, this child is dead. I need to get a teeny bit healthier.
We have rates as low as $129 a month.
You do know that people can run outside. That is zero. Look. I ran today.
How the hell you do that?
Somebody chasing you with them?
You can do it.
I know, I'm doing it.
Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
So anyway, extra credit if you want to go watch that movie, and you can actually identify all 4 of the human laws of behavior change that I talked about today. So this is what we are going to do. I am going to give you a few minutes to take the one-page worksheet that I sent and that I will attach again to the chat, and give you a second. I want you to choose a habit that you'd like to try for 2021 and see if you can write down one strategy for each of the 4 laws. You probably won't get to all of them. And then I'm going to put us in breakout groups. And as a group, people are going to brainstorm to help you think of other ideas. And you're going to walk away with a lot of strategies and ideas for your habit. So I know you may be tempted to leave, but it is really great to meet other people and to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is take a few minutes to think about it. And if you don't have the one pager, it's fine. Think about a strategy that you want to use. A habit that you'd like to have, and a few strategies, and then we will go into breakout groups. So it's awkward if you want to shut your video. I'm going to shut myself up and give everybody 3 minutes. And again, I am attaching the one-page workout worksheet to the chat there. So let's just take a few seconds. We'll take 3 minutes to think. All right, I know it wasn't a lot of time, but in general, if you run PD sessions with your staff, it's great to give actual work time during the meeting because people often don't read or write before or after, so it's good to give some time. If you are writing private messages to me, it's a little hard for me to monitor the chat. I will get to them and look at them later. I'm going to put people into groups of 3 and have each person, starting with the person with the shortest hair, just give a quick 30-second intro, who you are, share your habit for 2021 and a couple of the strategies you've come up with, and then have the group of 3 brainstorm so that that person can walk away with a whole bunch of suggestions and strategies for that habit. And we're going to do this for 10 minutes. So each person has about 3 minutes is really some time, and we will come back together, and we're almost there. Anybody want to share what was that experience like, either the brainstorming by yourself or sharing with a group? Anybody get any good ideas? If you want to just unmute yourself and share, I'd love to hear. It's hard to just talk and talk.
Hi, I got a chance to meet a couple of ladies that really have very different ideas. One's a health habit and the other a personal thing about creating better relationships with her adult children, which both are things that would be habits that I would want to work on. So it's kind of neat to hear other people's perspectives about what their habits are. We didn't get a chance to share everything that we wanted to, but certainly we'll continue to work on those as we move along. Thanks, Jen.
I think that's a great point, Kathy. I didn't even think about it, right? You get ideas for habit, things you don't even think are a habit, right? Like developing a relationship with your adult children. Who would think of that, right? One of my habits on my list is about these ways of building deeper relationships from a David Brooks article. Doesn't sound like a regular habit, but I turned it into one. So also getting ideas from habits from other people. Fantastic. Well, other people are coming back on the line. I just have on the screen a couple of ways you can reach out to me if you like my book summaries. Here's the main idea. If you like today's professional learning session, consider joining my mastermind group. We did this exact thing with my mastermind groups. Jessica came again. If you want a copy of today's agenda, you can do the same workshop with your staff. And oh, you know, I never explained that photo on the slide earlier today when there was a woman with all those hats. Did you all think that was weird? That was weird. Okay, sorry. I know you all wear a lot of hats, but I was hoping today you could wear 2 hats. One, a hat as a participant who wants to improve your own habits, but then 2, how could you do this workshop with your leadership team or your teachers or your staff? Because if you could imagine the power of everyone at your school or in your district improving their habits, that would be incredibly powerful. That would be lots of tiny changes happening at once. So if you want to do this workshop with your staff, you can email me. I'm happy to send you the agenda. I could also do this for your staff if you would like me to. So those are some ways to reach out to me. And anybody want to unmute and share just what they got from their group? I know we're going to end in a minute. I'm happy to stay, but I really thank you, everybody. I know that this has been a crazy day to join this workshop, but also an appropriate one that we as educators were plowing on no matter what craziness is going on. But thank you for taking the time. And if anyone wants to unmute and share what they got from their group, or even just to say goodbye, feel free to unmute.
I want to say thanks, Jen. Good to see you again. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, everybody. I really appreciate you all taking the time.